So I want to show you in this video how to measure for your wedding gown, your full ball gown. So I'm going to start from the shoulder, passing through the bust point. I'm using the 120 inches tape, so just in case the length is longer. So just to the side and then all the way down. Okay, all the way down. So this is, I'll use 62 for this. So you already see now that my entire length is more than 60. So this is 62. So I'll write down that the full length is 62 inches. You might want to take the half length as well, which is 16. So if you work with both front length and back length, you might want to also measure. So this is 15. So if you work with both front length and back length, you would have to remove the back length measurement from the total full length so that you can know what the ball gown part is. So the ball gown starting from waist down to the hem. Okay, so the back length for me is 15. Why are we working with the back length and not the front length? The front length is 16, the back length is 15. The reason why we are subtracting the back length from the full length and not the front length is because the extra measurement that the front length has is as a result of the bust. Okay, and then that should be added to just the half length here because the bust will carry up that 1 inch extra that this has. However, it would not affect on the waistline down. So it means that the original length we have is actually the back length. Okay, and that's the one we are supposed to use to subtract from the ball, because if I now subtract the front length from the actual full gown length, it's going to affect from waistline down, reduce it by 1 inch because the bust will carry 1 inch up. I hope you understand that. Okay, so once I am done with this, there are some things that you also need to note, that you can't exactly use this full gown length. Why? Because this is a ball gown. So you saw where the 62 got to. This is just on the floor. You might need to add some inches. So for example, you might need to tell your bride when they're coming for measurement to come with her heels, or if she has not gotten the heels yet, she can come with a similar length of the heel she'll be wearing on her big day, or you can just add 4 inches extra to the length. So the when she wears the heel, it carries the gown up. Okay, it carries the ball gown up. So you want to ensure that the ball gown is not jumpy. So you add that 4 inches as well. Now you also need to add some inches extra for petticoat. So depending on how the hoop skirt or petticoat you are using, the hoop skirts and petticoat are what you are putting inside your wedding gown to give it that very full effect. So depending on how full your petticoat and hoop skirt is, you can add between 2 to 4 inches extra, because when you wear the gown, when you wear the hoop skirt and the petticoat, and then you now wear the gown, the hoop skirt and petticoats will carry the ball gown up again. So you want to reduce your risk of having a jumpy wedding dress. Okay, so having said that, you see that we're almost having like 6 inches. So 4 inches for the heels that she's wearing. So we're assuming that the heel she's wearing is about 4 inches long. So even if at the end of the day the inch is just 3 inches, doesn't mean anything. 1 inch can just be left to flow. It wouldn't affect the movement or anything. So let's say 4 inches for the heels, 2 inches extra. Say we are just working with a medium size petticoat and hoop skirt. So hoop skirt is that one that has the ring around it. Petticoat is like the extra that you put on top, maybe like a net that you're pleating on it, or maybe some hard net that you're putting on it. So that's the petticoat. Okay, so their effect is just all to give fullness on your wedding dress. So we have length 62, which is the actual length. So let's do the calculation. If I'm adding 6 extra inches, the 6 extra inches is 4 inches for heels and 2 inches extra that the petticoat will carry up. So that will give me 62 plus 6, that's 68. So I might want to write that down, 68. However, I still need to, because this 68 is not what I'm using, so I still need to subtract my back length from 68. So my back length is 15, and I'll subtract from 68. So I would be left with 52. All right, so 52 is the length of the skirt. So I'm calling it skirt not because the gown we are making is top and skirt, but because from the half length down is like the top, then you join it with the skirt part to make it a gown. So right now we are dealing, because in this class, of course, we're not talking about the upper part, we're just talking about the lower part. So from the waistline down, I would be addressing it as the skirt. So the skirt length is 52, including the heels length and then the petticoats. However, there's still one more thing we need to add. So we might need to add ½ inch for joining, turning with the lining on the lower part, that's the hem part, and then another ½ inch for joining the upper bodies to the skirt. You know, there's a joining on the waistline, so you need ½ inch for allowance, for joining allowance, or for sewing allowance. So ½ inch on the upper part, ½ inch on the lower part, that equals 1 inch. So we add that 1 inch to our 52, which makes it 53. All right, so this is the total length. So we are doing all of this here so that when we start cutting, you don't need to say, oh, okay, after then I'll add this, after then I'll add this. I already know all the lengths that I need. All right, so what I have is 53, and then I'll go ahead to do calculation of the radius, so I'll know how to cut. Okay, so see you in the next lesson.